Welcome. This is Fashion Art Media. I'm your presenter, Lydia Cutler, and today with me is a fashion photographer based in Scotland. I'm going to allow him to tell us about himself. Please welcome. Tell us a bit more about yourself.
Hello, I'm Jeff. I am JGW Lee Photography, based out of Aberdeen. What can I say? I started photography maybe 4 years ago, and I think the first fashion opportunity was the Aberdeen Fashion Week. That was back in 2017, maybe. So quick, I just don't know.
Right. So what made you want to be a fashion photographer?
I just like the clothing, I like colors, and it's just so many things added together because it's not just the model, it's not just the clothing, and it's not just the makeup. It's a combination of all three things added together and then trying to capture the designer's imagination and just being there. It's just a really good atmosphere doing fashion, I
Right.
think.
Sounds interesting. So normally, what routine do you follow during a fashion week? Or a fashion event? Do you have special equipment that you have to use, or is it just any camera? You just pick up camera and go?
For me, I generally just pick up my camera and go. I have several to choose from, but it doesn't really matter for me personally. It's just trying to capture the image. I mean, if I pick up the wrong camera, it's not the end of the day. You know, I still get images that I can work with. My general routine is really get there, look at the lighting, and then try and figure out what's the best way I can capture the image, capture the models and the clothing down the catwalk. Sometimes the lighting isn't great, but you know, it just is what it is. You just got to work with it. Yeah, sometimes having the nicer equipment with me does make a difference, but it's not the end of the day.
Right. So you don't really have to take a lot of equipment with you, is what you are saying. When you don't,
Um,
uh-huh.
I wouldn't say that. I would say that because of the limitations of where you are, where you're situated, and other photographers, I mean, sometimes like some photographers like to use flash, some don't like using flash, and you got to try and have a happy medium. So if the place is really good lighting and you don't need flash, then not really a lot of equipment is required for catwalk. But for the more fashion shoots for specific designers or specific pieces of equipment like outside of catwalk, then there is a lot of equipment involved because to get a proper shoot and to get a image that everyone's happy with and to actually get put the designer's idea onto an image is a lot of work. So there's like the MUA involved, and then there's also assistance that you require. There's lighting to consider. I mean, it's not just a case of point your camera and click the button. There's a lot of background planning. I mean, clicking the button is only a small part of it.
Right.
And there's also
Right.
post-production as well.
So it's a mixture of so many things to make a nice photo. See, this
Yes.
is what we don't know really. We just see a beautiful photo. We think it's just a camera and that's it. But thank
Yeah.
you for sharing that. So after you've taken these photos, do you take them home and then get to check them and see if you can make any changes, like edit? Or is it just take the photos and show them to the models?
No, I when I do shoot with models, I have a screen with me, a monitor or computer, laptop, whatever. And so I tether, and when I shoot, the people in the room see exactly what I shot. So in a way, the shot has to be perfect or as close to perfect as possible, and then
Hmm.
and everyone agrees on, yeah, it's a photo that I want. This is the kind of feel that I want from the image, and then we go into after the images are done, the shoot's over, then we go into post-production where we process the images to, because I don't want to get into the technicalities of it, but sometimes what the camera captures isn't necessarily exactly what the color of that item of clothing is. So in order to get the exact same color, I generally shoot with color grid, and when I get home, I can kind of make adjustments so the colors are almost 100% or 100% representative of the designer's clothing.
Right. So you are saying that taking the photo is actually the easiest part. Is that right?
Clicking the button. Once you have your composition and once you have the style, then clicking the button is the easiest part. But the bit before and after is the difficult part.
Right. Are these things very expensive to get a nice photo, to get nice photos? Do you spend a lot of money for that?
It's part and parcel of the job, I guess. I mean,
right.
I think sometimes the equipment is very expensive, but to get that kind of quality and the time saving, you just have to spend that money. And that's why sometimes when we charge for taking a few pictures seem quite expensive, but if you think about it, it's the actual skill, planning, lighting, and the actual techniques and the stuff that you don't see in the background that has to be accounted for as well. So yeah, it's a big misconception that doing fashion is just click the photo and present to client. It's not quite as simple as that, I'm afraid.
Right. So are there any challenges you get as a fashion photographer normally?
Yeah, for me the challenges is actually finding a stylist. A stylist can make a massive difference between a model just dressed in a piece of clothing to an actual narrative. When you look at the image and go, wow, that's everything's come together. It's not just you wouldn't exactly put someone in, I don't know, a lime green dress, but stuff, shoes that were, I don't know, silver or whatever. It just, with a stylist, it's they piece everything together so everything looks perfect. And I find that it's very hard to find a stylist. I mean, once you find one, I guess you got to just hold on to them. And I think makeup artists are very hard to look for ones that you can work with and know exactly what you are looking for.
Right.
Consistent. I think consistency is a major thing. And I guess once you're and shooting catwalks is sometimes can be quite frustrating because if you miss that moment, you don't get another chance, kind of thing.
Of course, because everything is done according to how the designer wants, so automatically it's not going to be what will be good for you. I understand that quite well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for capturing what the designer envisages, sorry. But sometimes the designers don't help themselves with not knowing what they actually want. And we could end up wasting a lot of time just shooting and then not getting an image without proper communications. So sometimes it just requires a little bit of communications, and that's why I shoot tethered on site, so the client or the designer can see exactly what's going on, and we can make the changes then, rather than models and myself spending hours doing a photo shoot and doing the processing and then sending over, and the client goes, oh, this is not exactly what I want. So that can end up costing a lot of money to the designer or to myself. I mean, hiring a designer, hiring a professional model is not cheap. I mean, different professional model and an amateur model is that when you go to an agency, you know that the model's going to be there. And if they don't have, if the model, whatever reason, the model's not able to show, then the agency is able to provide a replacement model for the day. Whereas with an amateur or time for print, it's a lot more difficult because you're relying on it's a mutual agreement, so there's no binding contract or anything, so it can be quite difficult.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Interesting. I hope that our viewers will get that point, because that's a really good point you've made there. So if anyone wants to become a fashion photographer, what advice can you give them?
Well, seeing how fashion photography is like professional fashion photography is kind of like the top 1% of photographers, it's quite a hard industry to break into, but don't give up and practice, I guess. I mean, I myself I'm not how would you say, a well-known photographer. I've just kind of started at the really, and it's just keep trying. Don't be afraid to knock on doors, I guess. I mean, I've been pretty busy at it recently and kind of sat back with photography, but because of the whole COVID thing. But I think sometimes you just have to pay yourself to do the shots, to show the world that this is what you can do and what you can produce, and be consistent. There's nothing worse than being able to shoot well today and not being able to provide the same standard for the next shoot.
Right. Thank you so much. If our viewers want to see what you've done, your work, do you have any social media platform where they can reach you at?
Yeah, they can reach me on Facebook with jgwleephotography.com. That's my website. Or I need to find my Instagram. You know what? This is embarrassing. I don't even know my own Instagram. You can find me on Instagram if I can find myself. Oh, it's jgwlee underline photog, and you'll find my work there. Yeah, I mainly do portraits, and yeah, that's where you'll find me.
So you have a website with your work?
Yeah, I have a website, I have Facebook and Instagram.
Oh, perfect. So if you can also give us these links, if you don't mind, so we can include them with this interview, so that anyone, because there might be someone who either wants you to be inspired by you or wanting your help, where they can reach you. So we'll have to put the links with this video.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciated.
No problem. Thank you for the interview. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.